Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Made it to the end of another week. We've got a bunch of sports coming up this weekend. And before we get there, we got to go through Pass Rush Friday. And I have great news. I got great news. This is not going to be a 45-second long video. This is not going to be a joke video because we actually got some pressure on Jared Goff this week. It wasn't overpowering, but it was at about the level of pressure that I think is reasonable to expect from this team. If we can get that level of pressure in every game, I'm not saying we're going to win every game, but we're going to win more than we lose. And a lot of the pressure we got was late in that game. So I'm going to chalk that up as a bit of a win as well. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I'd love to be able to get that pressure through the whole game, but with this defensive line being so thin, maybe that's just not realistic. So let's go through it player by player, position by position. Draymond Jones, 2 QB pressures in this game, including his first sack as a Seahawk. So, hey, after a rough first game, and I'm not saying he played great throughout this whole game, but we got something. We got something on the board with Draymond Jones. You can see that he is capable of making plays in the backfield, capable of doing good things. We're making strides in the right direction here. And he was not alone on that defensive line. Jarran Reed, nose tackle, has 2 QB pressures in this game, according to PFR. And I'm going to continue to stress that because some people last week, when I made the pass rush video that was the kind of the joke video, they said, oh, Nwosu had 3 QB pressures on PFF. I know PFF is much more aggressive with their pressure formula. I use PFR. You can use PFF if you want to. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but just understand they look at things very differently than PFR. And I like PFR because I feel like their pressures are more meaningful. I think PFF has some sort of rule where, like, if there's ever any point where there's no offensive player between the defensive player and the quarterback, then it counts as a pressure. When a lot of the time that can happen and it's not really affecting the quarterback that much. Like if the quarterback throws it and you're 8 yards away from him, it doesn't. What did it do? What did it really do? I don't think it did that much. So I like the PFR formula. And by PFR, Jarran Reed playing nose tackle had 2 pressures in this game, which is, I mean, nose tackles generally do not make plays in the backfield like that. They are not the ones getting heat on the quarterback. He's got 3 through 2 games. So Jarran Reed doing his job so far. Doing his job and then some in my book. So kudos to him. The run defense is playing well too. So honestly, he's probably been one of our best overall players on the defense. The run defense is holding up, so he's not holding us back there. And he's putting a little bit of heat on the quarterback. Nobody else on the defensive line did anything. I do think that Mario Edwards and Cam Young played well, but no pressures on the quarterback. So defensive line was definitely better in this game, but we do want to spread the love around a little bit here at some point, hopefully. And I do think it's coming. I think Mario Edwards is a good player. I think people are a little bit hard on him sometimes. I like what he's bringing to the table. But that's 4 QB pressures from your defensive line. That's a pretty decent place to start. That's something where I can look at and go, okay, we've got a real foundation to build on here. Linebackers, off-ball linebackers, only ones who played were Bobby and Brooks. Bobby, nothing, but Brooks had a big one. Brooks had that 1 QB pressure that forced the incomplete pass on, I think it was 4th down. Maybe it was 3rd down, but either way, it got the Detroit offense off the field. And he almost got the sack. Like, he probably should have gotten a sack on that play, but he absolutely disrupted was what Goff wanted to do, got him off the spot, and forced a bad throw that was incomplete. So I want to see more Jordan Brooks on the blitz. I know he's playing pretty well in coverage so far this year. It's respectable, but I want to see Brooks on the blitz more. I feel like that's something he can probably do pretty well. So I'm liking what I'm seeing there. So Jordan Brooks with the pressure. Seems like we're blitzing a little bit more this year than previous years. So baby steps in that regard, I guess. Edge rushers. We got a little bit of life from the edge rushers. Uchenna Nwosu with the pressure. Daryl Taylor with the pressure, and Derek Hall with the pressure. Mafe, of course, didn't play. Tyreek Smith played 9 snaps, so not much of anything to report there. But Nwosu, Taylor, and Hall all found ways to contribute. And I thought, I mean, Daryl Taylor, maybe not so much, but I thought all 3 guys played respectable. Well, okay. Okay, you know what? Daryl Taylor, no, did not play a respectable game because of that ridiculousness on Goff, like 8 seconds after he handed the ball off. But they all found their way to contribute, and we know what to expect from Daryl Taylor at this point. He's a limited player. He's not a great player. He's probably not even a good player, but he does bring some good things to the table. You take the good with the bad, and you just hope the good is enough to help you win the game. And Derek Hall with his first ever QB pressure, that's cool. I thought he played a much better game this week. 3 pressures total from the edge rushers. We're cooking. We're cooking a little bit here. We haven't even gotten to the secondary, and we are already to 8 QB pressures. And I said we should be trying to average about 10 pressures a game. So that puts us pretty dang close already without us even getting to the secondary. And I know you're thinking, who cares about the secondary? But in this game, no, we care about the secondary because we brought a couple cornerback blitzes, and we're seeing a decent amount of this so far this season. Trey Brown got in for not only a QB pressure, but a sack, and Kobe Bryant got in for another QB pressure of his own. So that's 2 cornerback blitzes that worked, that got pressure on the quarterback. This is something that we did a tiny bit last year, but not a lot. This year, so far through 2 games, it's become a pretty big part of what we do. And when Jamal Adams gets back, it might even be unleashed even more, these defensive back blitzes. So, Trey Brown, obviously he kind of almost did the hat trick with the sack, and then the next play, the pick, and then the touchdown. It's almost like some kind of a crazy defensive Lawrence Taylor type hat trick if he had just done it in 1 play instead of 2, but the idea is still the same, man. He found ways to make big plays to offset some of the big plays he gave up. That's what you can say about Trey Brown. And Kobe, he's not doing that much well this year so far, to be brutally honest, but if this blitz thing is something that can actually really start affecting things, because remember, he almost sacked Stafford last week. If this keeps up, then maybe this is just a part of his game that we have to utilize consistently every single week. So I'm not saying Kobe Bryant's going to be some Jamal Adams type presence as a defensive back blitzing, but Kobe Bryant, that seems to be the one thing he's doing decently so far this year. 2 QB pressures for a cornerback in 2 games when it's not like he's blitzing 20 times a game. I'm going to definitely take that. So safeties, nothing from the safeties, nothing from Diggs, nothing from Love. So that gets you to a total of 10. And like I said before the season, my goal was 170. 170 divided by 17 games is 10 per game. So if you can keep that up over the course of the season, okay. I would love to have more. I feel like with this array of talent, eventually we'll start averaging more. But if we can get to 10 pressures a game over the course of a full NFL season, I feel like that's going to be enough for this offense to win games most of the time because we should have a really good offense. This is not going to be like some 2013 Seahawks situation where the defense has to carry us every week, so we need 20 pressures a game. This should be a situation where you make a few plays, you get a few sacks, you get a few turnovers caused by QB pressure, and that's enough. So that is your Pass Rush Friday for week number 2. Much better than the first week. Definitely a step in the right direction. I'm happy. We can build on this. We can definitely get even better from here. But I really like the fact that the defensive line actually did disruptive stuff in this game. Definitely a huge improvement over last week. And I will see you guys later today. Go Hawks. Good news here. I'm happy. And I think most of you guys are too.